deep sleep. It was night, silent. But the young child opened his eyes with fear. Everything around him seemed familiar, yet something felt different. The darkness was so thick, so deep, that he couldn't quite understand what was happening in the room. Something was there, maybe a sound, maybe a feeling. Something had woken him from his sleep. A whisper, a call from deep within. "There's a secret, and you need to know it," the voice whispered. The child turned his head, but there was no one there. Only that voice, echoing in the dark. His eyes scanned the room in growing fear, but the sense of curiosity inside him started to push the fear aside. What was happening? Why was he here? Wasn't anyone else hearing this voice? Slowly he got out of bed, his heart racing. He knew something wasn't right. But what? Suddenly in the corner of the room, he saw him, the other dad. His eyes locked on the child's. But this man, this dad, was different. He wasn't like the one the child was used to. He felt unfamiliar. The child took a cautious step toward him. His heart pounded faster. "Other dad, what's the secret? Why are you always silent?" the child asked. The other dad took a deep breath and slowly looked at the child. "I need to tell you this, but remember, some secrets are never meant to be shared." In that moment, the child froze in fear. The other dad stepped closer. "You might need to communicate with dark spirits. Yes, that secret. It's the beginning of everything for you, but the end won't be anything like you expect." As the child tried to make sense of the secret, he began to feel even more frightened. The world around him was changing. Something was creeping into him. Something he could feel, but couldn't understand. Later that night, still awake in his bed, the child wished for morning to come quickly. But morning, when it came, he knew nothing would ever be the same again. In his deep sleep, something was moving, hidden from everyone else, but he could feel it. Eventually, he opened his eyes slowly. Everything was suddenly different. A stranger had entered the room. A man, dressed in mortuary clothes, walked into the dark atmosphere. The child stared at him, confused, as the man motioned toward him. "Something's wrong here. What's going on?" the child whispered. "You need to understand this," the man said, his face dark, his voice distant. "Will you sleep forever? That secret will follow you, and one day you might never wake up." The child tried to understand what he meant, but his words stuck in his mouth. A deep fear crept over him. Was this secret really going to lead him somewhere horrible? The child took a step back and unable to say anything. "You can't tell anyone," the voice inside him said, "but one day, that secret will find you." Soon everything began to make sense. The child began to question if there was a world he could truly wake up to. That dark secret would always follow him. When would he wake up? When would he escape? Or would he ever wake up at all? Was everything really connected to this secret? That little child, in the middle of a nightmare, took a deep breath before closing his eyes again. And waited. Something was changing. But what? Everything. Everything was much more terrifying than he ever expected. What was the secret? Would the child ever wake up? What was hiding in that dark secret? What does it all mean? If you want to uncover more mysteries, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell for more chilling tales. Stay tuned, because the answers may just be lurking in the next story.